Once Madeline had changed into her fresh diaper, she moved down to the lake and stood just behind the professor. "Did you know when I first discovered I couldn't use my legs, all I wanted in the whole world was to be able to swim from one side of this lake to the other?" Professor Yaffle said. "No," Madeline said cagily. "And every time I come past here I look at the water and think how easily I could sew if I had stronger arms." "Professor Madeline, what happened to you was one of the failings of my own control over my powers. I have been training myself for over 20 years and cannot even look into a young person's mind without affecting something." "What are you talking about, Professor? Nothing was wrong with you before and now you keep wetting yourself." "Professor, didn't Storm tell you?" "What?" "The stuff Charlie gave me was very potent and probably won't have worn off yet. It wasn't your fault. Besides..." The professor turned and looked at her. Madeline squatted down so she was at his eye level. "Madeline, I understand your desire. I don't discourage you to develop interests into certain areas. But please understand that I will not hide the fact that you are wearing diapers for a fetish. We do not use our powers for personal gain. And yes, I was aware of how long the drug lasted. I was just worriedly that you had less control." The professor sounded disappointed and angry. "I haven't been deliberately wetting myself, Professor," Madeline defended. "I know, Madeline, but you must understand that Madeline, I must know where this desire comes from." "Why, Professor?" Madeline asked, ashamed. "Madeline, it's for your protection. It may be that you are trying to force yourself to move back to a time without your powers. If that is so, then you may become useless to me as a member of the X-Mice." "Professor, I cannot explain it. But no, I would never jeopardize my friends over diapers," Madeline said defiantly. "Thank you, Madeline, I am glad, and please allow me to help you one last time." "How, Professor?" "If we get this new mutant to join the school, I will allow you to get your own back on Nightcrawler." As Madeline walked back to the van, she was uncertain of what had just transpired between her and her bald mentor. But she felt strangely good about herself. Then she realized the professor had just cured the psychic wound he had inflicted. Yaffle, who was slightly in front of Madeline, nodded his head as they moved back to the van. Gabriel walked back to his house to find it already surrounded by the biggest gang of bullies ever assembled. They were all standing outside his house looking bored. Above his head a blackbird squawked. And the gang turned to look at Gabriel. Many of them pulled out knives and other assorted weapons. Gabriel swore as he began to back off. He was trying to pull everybody away from his house. He saw his parents at the front window. His dad was pulling on his coat and he had Gabriel's titanium baseball bat. His mother was busy punching numbers into the telephone. The gang had still not said anything as they moved towards Gabriel.